guys, the day has finally come. I know that you guys are as excited as I am to be testing out the new Odens Eye collection. I'm going to be showing you everything that I got in my package yesterday. I'm literally so excited. I'm like a little kid in a candy store. You should have seen me when I got the package and I went to open it. I was so scared to open it because I was like, what if I don't like it? You know, like I had such high expectations. I can't wait to show you guys. I definitely do have some thoughts, but we'll get into those as I show you guys all the products. Let me show you everything that is in this collection. I am so excited. Let me start by showing you the eyeshadow palette because I know that is what you guys are probably as excited about as I am. So this is the Alva II eyeshadow palette. This is a 16 pan palette. It has quite a few different formulas in it. It does contain 2 pressed glitters, which you guys know I'm not the hugest fan of pressed glitters, but on the other hand, they are so beautiful. So I'm not sure I'm going to be using them on my eyes at all, but maybe in my 3-look video, I'm not going to use them today, but I am so tempted to try these out because they are freaking stunning. And it makes me a little sad that there's pressed glitters in here, but I don't know, I can appreciate that they tried to do something different at least, and I do really like the color story in this. I like the kind of ethereal but still colorful feel that this palette has. This collection also contains 3 mini palettes, which all has 6 shadows in them, including 1 split pan of 2 shimmers. I am so excited about these because these are so different and unique and I really love the layout in them. So the first one here is the mini forest palette and this is so cool. Like the color story is maybe a little bit weird when you first look at it. I don't know how to explain it, but I find them to be very interesting and I really love the split pan concept. Usually I hate that kind of stuff, but I just feel like it actually adds to this palette instead of just looking out of place like it does in a lot of other palettes. And also, can I just say that all of the split pan shimmers just look incredible. They are like such a wet looking, but a little bit sheer formula that can probably be built up to be quite intense. And I just feel like it's going to give you that really nice wet eyelid look, and I love that. We also have the mini ocean palette, which is more of like a bluey neutrally color story. All of these definitely lean kind of neutral, but I do feel like it goes with the brand. I don't know. I feel like this whole collection is like very on brand. Like it's kind of soft, but it's still colorful at the same time. Again, the split pan shimmers in this are out of this world. There is one matte in here that's it's one of those mattes that has kind of like small glitter particles in it. I know a lot of people hate those. I don't necessarily mind them as long as the glitters don't stay on my eyes, so it's usually not a big deal. I am excited to just test it out and see how it performs though, but it did swatch pretty much just like a regular matte, so I'm not too worried about it. And then lastly, we have the mini sky palette, which is so beautiful. Again, the split pan shimmers. Holy crap, like that kind of white one that has a bit of a blue shift. I don't think that my swatches actually did these palettes any justice. You almost have to see them in real life and feel them to really get like the idea of these formulas because they are so unique and just so different from what like you normally see in palettes. And that is one thing that I really appreciate about Odens Eye is that they really do try to come up with like different textures and different formulas within their palettes. And then lastly, we have the highlighting palette, which I love their first highlighting palette, so I can't wait to dig into these. The first top left highlighter in this is it's so yummy. That's probably what's going to end up on my face today, assuming it goes with the rest of my look. Hi, voice over me. So I just want to make sure I give you guys all the information here because I definitely forgot a couple of things. So first off, I do have a code with Odens Eye. It is Annette. It will save you $10 off your order if you plan on picking anything up. It is an affiliated code, meaning that I do make a commission if you do use it, but thank you so much in advance if you do. This collection launches on the 21st at 3 a.m. PST, so you might want to be up really late or get up really early or whatever that means for you if you want to get your hands on this. I don't know if it's going to sell out. Also, as for the prices, the large eyeshadow palette is 26 euros, the mini palettes are 17 euros, and the highlighting palette is 27 euros. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Now let's get back to the video. So I think we should just go ahead and get into this. In this video, I'm not going to use any of the mini palettes. I'm going to focus on the large eyeshadow palette. And then, like I said, there will be more videos coming. So don't worry, I am going to feature all of this and try all of it out and be very thorough with this. So just be a little patient with me and we will get through all of this eventually. So I'm going to start by priming my eyes with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. I like using this base for palettes that has kind of pastel-y or like more, how would I say this? Just like toned down colors, if that makes sense. Like I'm sure these are going to be very nice and pigmented, but I like having this primer because it's a little bit lighter than some of the other ones I have, and I just find that it really makes the shadows pop a little bit extra. Basically, my plan today is I don't want to have to change after, so I'm gonna try to kind of match my headband. Like, that is my inspiration, if you want to call it that. But I also feel like no matter what I use, I'm in a pretty good position here. So I think in my crease, I want to use this kind of corally shade. This is so beautiful, as well as orange. I don't use a lot of orange normally. Like, for the most part, I'm drawn to like the greens and the blues in this, and you guys know that. So I kind of want to try to do something a little bit different. I'm gonna go ahead and start with a shade here called Peach Juice, and I love the name of that. That is so cute. I am going to try to use quite a few shades in this though, but I also don't want it to get too overwhelming and too crazy, which I mean, it probably will in the end anyway, knowing myself, because I just can't help it. So I'm placing this in the first portion of my crease here. That is so nice and pigmented. I love that color. This would probably make for a beautiful blush too, but I feel like maybe the pan is a little bit too small to try that, but ooh, I love the tone of that. Taking this about halfway across my lid or so, and then for the outer portion, I'm going to use the orange shade. This is one of the prettiest mattes that I think I've used in a very long time. It just has such a beautiful tone to it. Like I said, next I'm gonna go into the shade here called Orange Bonbon, which is, you guessed it, the orange. And this is gonna go in the outer portion of my crease here. And I think maybe I'll take a little bit of the dark brown just to deepen up the outer corner. And then I wanna put some of the, I think, blues on my lid. I haven't quite decided exactly where I'm going with this because I never do, but we're gonna figure something out. And I think this is going to end up being a really, really fun and summery and flirty look. These are so nice and pigmented on the eyes. I don't know why I'm surprised, because all of their other palettes are too, but I feel like in the palette they look a little bit more, I don't know, I feel like they almost look more muted in the palette, but on the eyes they almost look neon. Like, it's crazy the intensity that I'm getting just from putting them on top of a normal eyeshadow primer here. Usually you would think that you'd need a white primer to get this kind of brightness out of these shadows, but they're just performing so well. And I love that this formula is very versatile. Like, it's definitely on the buildable side. So if you don't want this kind of pigmentation, you can absolutely go in very slow and just build it up gradually and get a lot more softer looks out of it if that is what you're into. Now, obviously, I like to have maximum pigmentation at all times, and we all know that. I think I'm just going to leave my bottom lash line open, because I think what I want to do is when I take this brown, I kind of want to wrap that around down to my lower lash line, and then I'm going to put some of the, maybe I'll use both greens and blues on my lid, and then kind of wrap the greens and the blues around this way, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab the brown here called Coffee, and this is going to go in, like I said, the outer corner of my eye. I don't think I want to pull this through my crease. I think I want the rest of my crease to be kind of light, but I do want to just have a little bit in the very outer corner here. Also, can I just say that I love that they named this shade Coffee. I am such a coffee fiend. It's not even funny. I love me some coffee, and I always drink my coffee black too. So it's always nice to see like an actual coffee shade that looks like the coffee that I drink. So this is performing very, very nicely. It's building up really, really well. Like I said, I am gonna take this shadow and just kind of put a little bit of that on the outer portion of my lower lash line here. And I'm just using the same brush here that I've used the whole time, which is my referral number 13. I'm sure you're all sick of me saying it, so I tend to not say it anymore, because it's like, of course I'm using this brush. I know sometimes I don't always say what brushes I'm using, and I'm sorry, but I don't want to annoy you guys with saying the same thing over and over and over again. Just going back in with a little bit more of that coral shade in the beginning here, because I'm going to do a cut crease, so I want to make sure that this is really nice and intense above where I'm going to cut my crease. And the reason I'm cutting my crease, which I don't really usually do that in my first impression videos, but when I'm going to go in with like colors that are so contrasting to what it is that I have in my crease, I don't want to have any kind of muddiness. And some of the shimmers in these palettes are like, I don't want to say sheer, but I just feel like these colors here might show through a little bit if I just go in and put the shimmers on top. So I just want to make sure I have a clean canvas to work with. I got some of my P. Louise base here on the back of my hand, which is what I'm going to use to do my cut crease with. Now, cut creases are of course very personal. I know I say this every time I do it, but it's just going to be a lot of trial and error to figure out what works on your eye shape. So it's really hard for me to let you know exactly how you should be cutting your crease, because everyone's eye shape is so different. But if you do have hooded eyes like myself, I would say my best tip is just to cut your crease higher than where your normal crease actually is. So my crease is cut, and I think what I want to do is I want to have the greens on my lid and then kind of wrap the blues underneath my eye. So I'm going to start by taking, actually there's only 2 greens, so I want to use a little bit of the matte. I think actually I'm going to take a little bit of this matte green and put like between the brown and where I cut my crease. And I'm just going to go ahead and pack that on with kind of a dense brush here. Now I did tap out a lot of the creases and the excess on the concealer, so it's not super tacky anymore. This is building up so nicely. At first when I put it on, it seemed like it would go on a little bit sheer, but the more I pack on, the more opaque and nice it's looking. And it seems to be sticking to my eye really well too. I am gonna go in with more of the brown, obviously, in the outer corner of my eye here. And then for the rest of my lid, I'm gonna grab this green here, which is called Green Elves. I am going to spray this. I don't feel like putting down any glitter primer because I already have like so much stuff on my lid here. So I don't wanna add an extra layer of anything, but like I said, I am gonna spray it just to see how intense I'm able to get this. And this is such a beautiful, beautiful kind of pastel-y green. I don't know if I have any shimmers in this exact color in my collection. Can you tell I'm trying to use as many shades as possible in this palette, in this look? I promise in my 3-look video I'll do something a little bit simpler, but I just want to test out as many of these as I'm able to. Like, I did not have to go in with that matte green on my lid, but I was just so curious. I wanted to see how it would perform. Like, the one thing I love playing with Odens Eye palettes is with their shimmers. You never know what you're gonna get really until you put it on the eye, so it's always like a surprise when you're trying them for the first time to see what the formula is going to look like on the eyelids. This is definitely a very, very metallic-y, kind of glittery shimmer, and I really like the shimmer formula a lot. Just making sure that the shimmer and the matte is blended in together, and then I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of that brown before we finish off with the lower lash line. Just gonna bring back a little bit of the green matte as well, because I feel like I covered it up with both of these colors. Now let's go in on the lower lash line with some blues here. So I think I'm going to use, I want to use 2 of them, and I don't usually use shimmers on my lower lash line, but I want like a kind of medium strength blue here. So I'm going to take this shade called Forest Dream in the middle of my lower lash line. I do think that this is probably going to be quite sparkly, but it's okay. We're just over here having some fun. So I'm going to place that, like I said, in the middle of my lower lash line, and then I'm going to finish it off with one of the lighter shimmers, which I think is going to be this one called Blue Bubble. This would make for the most beautiful inner corner shade as well, but I think I want to use one of the shades in the highlighting palette to kind of swirl a little bit just in my inner corner once I'm done with my eyes. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly finish off with my eyes, and I'll come back and we can do the rest of the face together. So the eyes are done. I finished off by putting a mixture of these 2 eyeliners from Lethal in my waterline. This is the green one in the shade Equalize, as well as the white one in the shade Buffer. I basically just mixed the 2 and I put like a pastel green in my waterline. I also put on a lipstick, which is Little Jasmine from Odens Eye. I love these. These are probably one of my favorite products from the brand, even though, I mean, really I like all of it, but these are just such a unique formula, and I love how comfortable they are and how opaque they are for a gloss. Let's go ahead and do some blush and highlight. So I'm of course going to use another one of the Odens Eye blushes here. This one is in the shade Ripe Papaya. It's one of my favorites. And one of you pointed out that I forgot to blush my nose in my last video, so this is for you, because I totally did, and it always makes me so sad when I forget, because I just love the look of a blush nose. Ooh, let's go into the highlighting palette. I'm so excited. I think I'm going to use the top shade because I need to try this. I don't know what it's probably going to look a little bit too icy on me, but we're gonna go ahead and try it anyway. So I'm gonna grab this one. I'm not sure which brush I should use this with. It's kind of like a chunky formula. So let's see what this looks like on the skin. I'm being very careful here. So if it's not showing up like super pigmented right off the bat, it's because I'm going in very, very lightly, because I don't know what to expect. So it's a very glittery formula. I love that. I think that looks so pretty. I can't quite see the shift in it. It just kind of looks like a bit of an icy glittery highlighter, but I am here for it. Usually with like very icy highlighters, they tend to look very stark on me, but since it is a glittery formula, I feel like any color can work for anyone, because you can't see that cast that you sometimes get with more opaque highlighters. when you're turning your head to the side, but if you're looking straight on, you can't really see it, which is what I'm looking for in my highlighters. This is so pretty and wet looking. This actually reminds me a little bit of the glitter highlighter from Fenty, the How Many Carats? Is that what it was called? I don't remember. I had that one, but I ended up returning it because I just found that the glitters wouldn't stick to my face, but I feel like these are actually sticking to my face and I'm not going to end up having glitter all over my face at the end of the day. For my inner corner highlighter, do I want to use the blue? That's kind of similar to the one that I already have on my eyes. I think I'm just going to go in with the same one that I used for my highlighter. Just going to pop that right in my inner corner here. And that is so pretty. Ooh, I love this. And just for the finishing touch, I'm gonna grab a little bit of this shade right here and use that as my brow bone highlight. Just taking a little bit of the orange in the palette to kind of go over that a bit because I felt like it took over a little. Okay, so this is going to be my completed look. Let's talk a little bit about this collection. Let's start with the palette. Oh man, the mattes in this palette are so wonderful. They performed so well, and I'm honestly surprised at like how bright they are on the eyes. Like I said, I don't know why I wasn't expecting this because Odens Eye has a really nice matte formula, so I don't know, I love this look so much. I feel like it's very much like the vibe of the palette because I used so many different colors and I'm so tempted to work with some of these glitters in my 3-look video. Let me know if you want me to use the glitters and I can probably try out at least one of them because they are so stunning and I just think that they would look so good with the rest of the colors in here. But so far I'm really happy with this palette. I love the color story, I love the theme of the palette. I'm very excited to play more with this. The highlighting palette, obviously I haven't used all of these yet and I will be using a lot of these in my upcoming videos as well, but I love this shade. I knew I was going to love this shade as soon as I saw it. As soon as I swatched it, I was like, this is going to be my shade. I also love their other highlighting palette. I feel like their formula is really nice. So yeah, I hope you guys are excited to see more videos with this because I am excited to make them. Let me know if you plan on picking up any of these or if you already have picked up some of these. I'm not sure exactly when this video is going up. Don't forget to use my code. I would really appreciate it. If you guys want to see some other first impression videos that I have on my channel, here's my playlist. And if you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing and I will see you in my next one.